Bree coming to you with the B Face, and today we have another Ready to Love review. I just did episode 3 because, like I said, I was out of town when that episode aired, so I didn't have a chance to film anything on it. So the first thing that we see is Tommy in deliberation. Well, not deliberation. He's talking to a few of the guys. They're like out fishing, and not all of them are there. I actually didn't catch why all of them were not there, but I did hear him say that one of the ladies has to be eliminated at the yacht party that they're about to have. So that's basically this whole episode, is the yacht party. So everyone's just having their conversations on the yacht. So Mark Anthony and Jeffrey get to talking. Actually, Mark Anthony and Jeffrey have a date that's outside of the yacht, and they go like bull riding or something. And he's like, he's never dated a lady with children before, so he's been a little cautious about that. But she sure did jump into his arms off that mechanical bull, and I love a guy who can pick you up. That is just primo for me. But they seem to like each other. Marcia and Blue go on a date, and she seems to be pretty fond of him, but he's like, she doesn't like the outdoors. She just seems to be like a cool friend. I just, you know, she just has too many do's and don'ts and blah, blah, blah. So yeah, Sis is in his friend zone. So then we get to the yacht party, and Tommy comes out and he's like, by the way, Andre, Mr. Curlicue right here, has the Rona, so he's not in the process anymore, which is interesting because I feel like in the previews I see him in later episodes, so maybe they let him come back. That would be something, because it seems like he had a connection with at least 2 of the ladies that seemed to like him, Cynthia and Jeffrey. So he might be coming back. I'm keeping my eye out for that one, because I did think that I saw him in a later episode. So Anthony is having a conversation with Cynthia, and I've realized I have not seen Anthony too much. He hasn't been really circulating too much in these episodes. Maybe he's like on the edge of a group date where it's like a lot of guys and not just like one of the 2, you know? So he's talking to Cynthia, and they're having a very good conversation. Cynthia seems to have a lot of depth, and like she's really serious about this, and she's just talking about how like she'll tell her friends, if a guy isn't even changed by having kids, like he not gonna change for you. Like if nothing's gonna change him, if having a kid does not make him say, I need to change my priorities, or I need to be different about how I move, he's not gonna move different for anything else. And I think that was pretty solid advice. And they're just having a conversation about what they are like and what they want out of relationships. So then Blake gets Sue-Ann a bracelet for, I guess, not eliminating him last time. And okay, I do not think he's a genuine person. And not even just because of what Jeffrey said, yeah, I think from the mixer, he was just arguing with ladies and just not pleasant, it didn't seem. So Tony and Morgan, they seem to like each other. They're all huggy and hand holding, all of those things, but they get a little tiff because Morgan thinks that Tony's out here telling every other girl that he wants to be with them and not just telling that to her. And she also feels like he's not giving her enough attention. But he feels that she needs to be a little bit more secure and confident in herself. And he thinks it's a problem that if I am telling you I'm not saying these things to other women, that you don't believe me. That is problematic. That is their little tiff. So, hey, you know, it's episode 4, but I think they're still on track from what the previews show at the dinner when he's, you know, talking to Lyndon about how he's kissed her so many times. Who knows? So then they start playing this game, like truth or dare type thing, but it was mostly dares. So Morgan gets to be a little petty because the card was like, who are the 3 sexiest people? And she was like, Lyndon, Marcia, and me. And so Tony was like, yo soy right here. Like, what is that about? So I feel like that was a little petty patty of her. Demario, who I guess I didn't realize up until this episode was so fine. He was feeling Jeffrey, but Jeffrey kissed Mark Anthony right in front of him, and that I guess turned him off. But he's still feeling Corvea, so that's happening. Blake pulls Jeffrey to the side, and then he tells her, "Oh, I'm so hurt and disturbed about things I've heard." And she's like, "Well, what have you heard?" And he was like, "I'd rather not get into that." She was like, "Well, am I just supposed to guess what you're talking about?" He was like, "Well, I heard something." "What things? What things have you heard?" "Well, I wasn't there when it was said." "Okay, well, say what you heard." Like, she was pressing him real hard about that because he wouldn't like tell her, "I heard that you said that I had chosen you, and you know that that's not true because we've never had those conversations," which made me feel like perhaps Jeffrey was telling the truth, because I cannot imagine any situation where if someone was saying blatant lies about me, things that had never happened, or like someone purposely misunderstood or misconstrued what I said to suit their purposes, that I wouldn't go up to them and be like, "Did you tell Sue-Ann that I said that you were in my top? Did you tell Sue-Ann that I didn't want to be in this process anymore because I had chosen you? When have we had conversations? Show me in this call log when we have talked and when I would have said that to you." Like, I cannot imagine a scenario where if Jeffrey had said nothing but lies, he wouldn't have confronted her with those lies. So that just makes me think even more like, I think she might be telling the truth. I mean, it's a wild lie to start with because what would have prompted that? But like I said in the last one, it's a clever lie because it's he said, she said, and it happened off camera, so there's no receipts to be had. But yeah, I can't, yeah, I don't get that one. So at the end of that conversation, she was just like, "If you won't tell me what it is that you think that I said, I can't help you, so why are we talking?" And he was like, "I agree, let's stop talking." And so that was that. That was the end of that conversation. So once that conversation ended, Jeffrey went and she went to talk to Demario and Sue-Ann, who were sitting together. And Sue-Ann was just like, "Is it possible you misunderstood something he said?" And Sue-Ann and Jeffrey kind of get into it a little bit because Jeffrey feels like she's caping for Blake a whole lot. And Sue-Ann just feels like Jeffrey is lying. And Demario's over here sipping his drink and rolling his eyes because he's like, "Oh, the drama, who cares?" But yeah, that was that situation. I'm hesitant to say like, oh, I fully am on board with whatever Jeffrey's saying or like that I completely believe her, but I just think it's a lot more probable that she's telling at least a portion of the truth because of how Blake is responding to it. So, then we get to Tony and Jonique. I don't know how you pronounce that. Those two were sitting together. And then she started tearing up. I'm not going to say that it wasn't a genuine moment, but I don't know. I didn't see one tear fall from her face. Her eyes weren't even like slightly red. Anyway, we're gonna move on from that one. So then this is the deliberation with the guys, and they get to talking about who's, top and bottom, and it's really interesting because it's very early on. Usually this early on, it seems like there's at least one lady who's not really on anyone's list. I would have thought Jonique and Marcia would be closer to the bottom because they seem to be the ones with the least connections. But it seems that the people who are on the bottom are Marcia, Jeffrey, and who's the other lady? Corvea. Yeah, Corvea. Actually, Corvea would also seem like she's on the bottom because it seems like only Demario likes her. But yeah, they're very getting a little hype about this wild card or this save card because Demario's like, you gotta save Jeffrey because, or not Jeffrey, you gotta save Corvea because that's the person I have a connection with. And Mark Anthony's like, no, we gotta save it for later on down the line because you don't know what shorties you're gonna be feeling later on. And the guys are basically like, it doesn't really matter later on, we wanna use it now. And if he's that gung-ho about this girl, well then let's just use it. I think y'all act like these people are dying once they're eliminated. If they're eliminated, y'all can still talk after the show. I guess I just don't see why it's that deep for y'all to like really be arguing about this. If the guy wants to use the save card, use the save card. I don't know that I would be so like, no, you have to save them, you have to save them. But like, if I really felt that strongly about that person, I think it would be easier to date them off camera anyway. But you know, this is what we're here for. This is TV. So Tony is the person who gets picked by Tommy to deliver the news. And so he brings Marcia, Jeffrey, and Corvea to the front. And again, the things that he said to and about Corvea, it's like, do y'all just hate her? Like, the guys just seem like they say terrible things to her. That it just, let that girl go home. Like, every week it's a worse thing that they're saying to her face, and her face is just always like, like, what am I supposed to say about that? Like, it's always terrible things. Anyway, they don't tell us who gets eliminated, which makes me think that no one gets eliminated, because I think I saw Marcia in the previews for the next episode, and also Jeffrey I saw in the previews for the next episode. I didn't see Corvea, but that is not to say that she was not saved. So they may have used the lifeline. Demario may have gotten his way. So that's it for this episode. It's getting interesting, you know, here. And also, another thing about Blake and Jeffrey, when they were in deliberation, Blake put Jeffrey at the bottom, but he wasn't caping for her to be eliminated too much. So it's just, you know, again, is this gonna be the story? Like, I wonder if this is gonna be the event of the season, because you know, in every season there is one event, one thing that happens that just makes you feel like, or that just makes for good TV, right? It's just one big event that they end up talking about during the reunion. Like, they had one with the DC seasons, the one where the guy touched the girl's boob, we found out through interviews afterward. And then the other one where Phil picked up that lady and she said she didn't want him to, but she was walking down a dark alley at 4 a.m. and he was like, we finna leave. What was it for the Miami last time? What was the big event for Miami last time? Probably that tiff between the tall basketball guy and that lady. It was kind of like a triangle or a quad. He just had so many choices, and it turned out he was dating them choices after they chose each other at the end. I don't remember what the big deal was last time. I don't remember. But anyway, that is it for this episode. That is it for this review. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.